We are live. Welcome back, everyone, to the Open Wide Podcast. Dr. Jenny and Susan for another very, very interesting show today. Susan, what do you say we talk about the dumbest things we've seen a coworker do?
Okay. And then the dumbest things that we've done?
Yeah. Maybe? And then we'll talk about maybe something dumb that we've done while on the job. I don't know. My career is in the teeth biz, as you know, being a dentist. So all of my stories, so to speak, are in the dental industry. So I hope everyone out there in listening land finds this remotely interesting coming from me, the dentist. You know, I've had odd jobs here and there, lifeguard, working in a sales, in a department store, yada, yada, yada. But the bulk of me is teeth. What about you? What's the bulk? The bulk of your work is in the what industry?
Well,
financial industry.
Yeah, I spent the bulk of my career
in the skating industry,
in the financial services sector. Although for the last 20 years, I've been running my own business, so I would say management is sort of like what I'm kind of noted for, if you will.
Manager. I think you're a great manager.
We've never talked about previous jobs that we had. Odd jobs that we've had when we were kids, like as we were coming up. So my oddest job was I was a librarian's assistant. How bad is that? Because first of all, I had to be quiet. That was hard to do. And then you had to know the Dewey Decimal System. You remember the Dewey Decimal System?
Okay, that's right. People out there have no idea.
And the abacus.
They have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, used to be, before the computers, you had in a library, you had these little cards in these little drawers, and you pull these cards out, and you had to find your book in these cards. And then you had to take that ID number and you had to go through the library and try and find your book, only to realize the person had already checked out the book and they didn't pull the little card thingy out of the Dewey Decimal System box. So you couldn't have your book anyway.
Thank God you had Susan, the librarian assistant, to put it all back together
I have a question, though. I have a question. So you have a librarian, right? And the librarian, whom I love librarians.
So serious, those librarians.
No, so a librarian is doing the librarian job, which is filing the books, right?
Yeah.
What is the librarian's assistant job description?
No, the librarian, wait a minute. The librarian assistant's the one that had to put it back. And this is what made the job so challenging. You had to follow the Dewey Decimal System and put them in the right place. Otherwise, people couldn't find the book. The librarian would be the person you'd go to and say, I'm interested in learning about caterpillars. And she'd go, okay, section 16, row 5.
Oh.
That kind of thing.
So the librarian is kind of like in the grocery store when you're buying the produce. She knows the numbers of all the produce. She knows where the caterpillar book is, where the butterfly book is, where the pine tree book is.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Well, I would say, I spent 1 year at the University of Kentucky. And I worked at the Pimlico racetrack. Which is don't get excited.
You picked up the manure.
I did.
Jenny,
I shoveled the stalls.
No,
I did.
Kidding? Oh my God.
It didn't last long.
Yeah, no kidding.
I got, I forget what the perks were, but I did that for a short while. That was probably my least favorite job. Yeah. I went from one end to the other. I went from those horses' rear ends to the mouth.
Yeah, good for you.
So anyway, one of the things that I saw, I don't know if it's dumb or just wrong or horrifying, but when I was in dental school, there was this student, and this guy always talked, he was a little crazy, but he always talked about he wanted to feel what it felt like to drill right down in the middle of someone's tooth.
Oh,
and one day he did. He really just took that drill and, and then there's me who's just like gently, I was petrified of hurting a person or anything. But yeah, this guy, he just drilled straight down into the tooth. So that person needed a root canal.
You work on cadavers, or are they how do you find these people that students work on? That's got to be.
Yeah, well, so we start off working on mannequins, which is necessary, but it doesn't really prepare you for life.
Right.
It doesn't have a tongue. It doesn't have saliva. It can't talk, can't feel, but it's a mannequin. And so you've got to get the design down of what you're doing. Then you transition to the patients, and the patients are there for a myriad of reasons. They have nothing better to do, financial issues, whatever it is. And that's how you get patients in dental schools.
Okay, so it's like going to the discount hair salon where the new people are cutting your hair, and so you make
exactly. So you may walk out with bangs on one side that are 1 inch and bangs on the other that are 9 inches.
So, but I guess that there's probably some value benefit for that too, right? The person doesn't pay as much as they would to a traditionally graduated dentist.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so you save money, number one. Number two, you're put through the ringer as far as you have to go through a bunch of steps. You have to see this department for this, and then you go to this department for this. So it's a very thorough, usually, workup. And then when the day comes that you actually receive your treatment, which probably feels like 4 years from the day you started, back then at least, then the student practices on you with a dentist overshadowing the student. But I guess the dentist stepped away and the student went ahead and just drilled right into that tooth.
Oh, my God.
And I heard, some screams.
Of course you did, Jeez. Did that person graduate? What's that person's name? Let's stay away from him or her.
I think everyone did graduate. I don't know where this one is. Anyway, what do you have?
Well, I was thinking about this question, and I was thinking about mistakes that we all make as we're coming up through the ranks, in management, for example. So let me start with mistakes I've made. So when you become a sort of new manager, like for the first time, you're given some, responsibilities, and some of those responsibilities are you can hire your own people. Your tendency is I'm going to hire somebody just like me. So you go ahead and hire somebody just like you. And a couple months later, you're thinking, this person is the biggest pain in the ass. Who hired him? Oh, I hired him. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to hire somebody exactly like you. You want to hire somebody where you don't have the skill sets. Okay.
Right.
So it's a mistake that a lot of new managers make in their new hires. And it's not until you learn that what you really want is a well-balanced team. So if your skills are X and you recruit for Y. So that's a mistake that I've certainly made.
You need to fill in your deficiencies with other people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A mistake that I see other managers make, though, is particularly young managers, that they don't understand that their job is to make their boss look good. And if all young managers just know that that's their job, is to make your boss look good, then you are very likely to get promoted. You're very likely to move on. So, but a lot of people forget that part of the job. And then secondly, I think that a lot of young managers make the mistake of becoming friends with the people that they have underneath them. Mm-hmm. So this is particularly true if you are part of a team and you get promoted to the manager. Now you're managing that team. And you feel like, we're going to go out and have beers at the end of the day, and I'm going to be their friend. And because I was their friend, it's a very different role. And you've got to learn to not do that, because it's just not what you're there to do. You're there to lead and not to be a friend. So I don't know. I think that is the word transpires. It covers all occupations. You know, there's got to be the boss or the leader or the manager or the CEO and coworkers and other people, and you've got to maintain a professional boundary. Right. I think we're all guilty of doing that. Yeah, I think you're right. We are all guilty of doing that. It's not until you learn by sort of mistakes that you balance things out or change things.
Okay, so let's get back to me, and let's get back to granular. What do you say?
Yeah, we'll get back to you. That's perfectly fine with me. Go ahead, honey. What do you want to say?
So another thing I saw a coworker do, I worked in a facility, and it was a very high volume type of place.
Yeah.
And one day, one of the hygienists, I was the dentist for the day. That should be called DOD, Dentist of the Day. And the hygienist comes to me, and she has her hand out, and I stop what I'm doing with whomever I'm working with, and I turn and I look, and she has someone's tooth in her hand. And I remember she had a very Southern accent. And she said, Dr. White, I accidentally scaled this tooth out of this man's mouth.
Oh,
And I took a look. I looked at her hand. I looked at her face. And I said, put it back.
oh my God. It was a real tooth, not a crown.
She
you mean?
really scaled an entire tooth. And of course, I
What is
stopped
scaling
what
a
I was
tooth?
doing.
Wait a minute. What does that even mean?
Scaling a tooth means when you're cleaning with those instruments and
Yeah.
you're pulling on the teeth and pulling on the teeth and pulling up on the tooth. She literally, I guess, scaled hard enough to pull a tooth out of a person's mouth.
Well, that must mean she's got bad gums.
Well, she probably had some gum issues, but the hygienist was above and beyond. That's way too hard. Never in my career, and my entire life has been in this field, never in my career have I encountered this before.
Yeah.
So word to all the hygienists out there, keep the teeth in the mouth. That's starting point number one. But yeah, I literally had someone in the office, not in my office currently, scale a tooth, clean a tooth out of a person's mouth. That's a no-no.
Jeez, That's gonna
That's a
hurt.
no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even tell my Bonamos story of my dentist. Do you remember Bonamos? Bonamos were these taffy-like things that kids used to like. You got it at the candy store. And my brother and I went to the dentist one day, and we each had a filling. And we leave the dentist. We were old enough to be able to walk to the dentist was in our community. We were able to walk to the dentist and walk home. And we each had a filling. And on the way home, we stopped at the candy store and bought a Bonamo and ate it.
It should be called a Bonanono.
Yeah, well, of course, because it pulled the filling out. My mother was freaking livid. So we had to go back to the dentist and explain we ate a Bonamo. And the dentist is looking at us like, what are you, two nuts? Like, you can't be doing, like, it's taffy. Like, how come you can't figure that out? Why do people have to spell out, don't eat a Bonamo after you leave
Right after you leave the dentist.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that was my early scary history with dentists. And thank God I found you in the end, because you make dentistry going to the dentist so much fun and so easy. But I always had this kind of
Well, and I try and put my fillings in to where the Bonamos don't pull them out.
Right, okay.
I try to have a Bonamo-proof practice.
I find you, and now there's no more Bonamos.
You know what, Susan? I need to do some dental work on you, and then we need to get that candy, and we need to put it to the test, put it to the ringer. All right. One dumb thing I've done.
Oh, my God.
And this was when, my father was a dentist, big, high volume practice. And my job in school, I could have been 6, I could have been 16, I could have been 20. I don't even remember how old I was when this happened, but my job was to seat the patients. So I would take your little paper chart, I'd go out to the waiting room, and I would say, Mr. So-and-so. And a lot of times, with older people, you'd have to say, Mr. So-and-so.
Yeah.
So I'd call it a couple times. Somebody would come up, and then they'd follow me back. So 2 things have happened. Number one, I've taken the wrong human being. Mr.
Oh, no.
Galapago thinks that he's Mr. Abaco. And, it just like, so I've seated the wrong person in the room for the wrong procedure.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's happened.
But that was caught before, yeah.
That was caught before. Yeah,
okay.
thank goodness. Or he had just an amazing staff too, so they caught it. The other thing that I've done is my father did an extraction for somebody, and my father worked very quickly, so he would go in the room, get the job done, up and out, and he was on to something else. That room hadn't been cleaned. So I'm bringing next patient, Susan, down the hall, and I take her and I seat her in this room, and there is a murder scene. There's a murder scene with somebody's tooth.
Oh, great. Thanks.
So, of course, and this is where I learned skill.
Yeah.
I learned the game. I said, oh, you know what? Follow me. Let's go up, did up. Like,
oh, you know how to roll with the punches. That's a good skill to learn.
You
actually.
need to learn to roll with the punches. You need to do it wrong. You need to have the bad things happen so that you can make it right, so that you can learn, so that you can be better, so that you don't do it again.
Yeah. Now, did you know from a very early age, because of your dad's work and the work that you did in his office at a young age, that you wanted to be a dentist? Was that something that was pretty obvious to you at a young age?
So my parents were very poor growing up, and my father went into dentistry, I think because the dentist in his little town in West Virginia was the wealthiest guy he'd ever seen. So my father went into that to work his way out of an impoverished situation. Mm-hmm. And then for me, my parents never presented things like do what you enjoy, do what you love. They told me you need to be financially self-sufficient. So Jenny, your choices are doctor or dentist. And I thought, well, Dad's a dentist. I can do this.
Yeah.
So it wasn't out of a love or a desire. It was just kind of something I did so that I could be financially independent.
Well, because you clearly love it, or you seem to really love it. Yeah,
I got so lucky. I got so lucky falling into my career, which was in my face.
Yeah.
Because of my father. So I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I love my patients.
Oh,
even though they eat Bonobos.
Bonamos.
Bononos.
Bono. It's Bono.
She loves the sugar so much. She still remembers the theme song. What the heck? So anyway, those are some really idiotic things that I've done. Those are some really idiotic things that I've seen coworkers do. Anything else you'd like to add, Susan, to this?
I think this is a wrap.
Yeah, I think this has been great. So guys, even though you may do the world's dumbest thing on the job, don't lose the faith. Keep on trucking, keep on climbing, because, we all have been there. We all have been there, right, Susan?
Amen, sister.
And that is a dummy dumb rap.
Bonomo. B-O. Bring back Bonomos.
We thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please share this show with friends and family and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way, you'll never miss weekly drops. Stay strong, dream big, and floss your teeth.